This week, we are looking at the rising trend of the metaverse. It could be years before the vision laid out by Mark Zuckerberg is fully realized, but not too soon, potentially, to invest. Julia Borst joins us now with the third story in her series this week. Julia.
Well, Andrew, there are range of different ways to invest in the building blocks of what will be the metaverse. Perhaps the easiest way to invest is to buy the chips that will power the metaverse. Bernstein points to the potential for NVIDIA, the world's largest graphics and AI chips maker, and Qualcomm with its Snapdragon XR platform that connects virtual and physical spaces. Bernstein does have an outperform rating on both of those stocks. Now, for VR to work, the network does need to be fast. So 5G is key. T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T's investments in spectrum should pay off in that regard. And Goldman Sachs highlights the original metaverse players, Meta Platforms, formerly known as Facebook, Snap, and Roblox. Goldman saying those are the key stocks that it has rated buy that are exposed to the theme. Now, metaverse expert Kathy Hackle tells us that to look for those giants to pursue cutting-edge startups.
What we're going to see next year are going to be really interesting acquisitions, I think, from some of the tech giants acquiring more gaming platforms, some, more known, some more nascent. So definitely see that on the horizon for 2022.
Goldman does forecast that Meta Platforms will invest about 5% of its market cap over the next 3 years. That's about $39 billion in metaverse-related technology. Now, if you want broad exposure to the metaverse, there are ETFs like this one called Meta, not to be confused with a company previously known as Facebook. That lets you invest in several of those biggest players that are at the forefront of the metaverse. Now, also expect to hear a lot more about the metaverse from a range of companies on investor calls. Now, there were a record 449 mentions of the metaverse in third quarter earnings calls, up from just 100 mentions in the prior quarter. So we'll have to see if that growth trend continues, Andrew.
Julia, people talk about investing in the metaverse. Clearly, even Mark Zuckerberg talks about this being, a decade away from sort of the full version of it. Is your sense that it might be too early to invest, or that actually the better opportunities are in the private market, which I know may be a lot harder for many people to access than the public market?
Look, certainly, Andrew, if you believe that the metaverse is going to be a big thing, that buying NFTs, buying virtual real estate, that would make sense. But I'm not talking about private market options here. What my goal is here is to look at some of these tech companies that we talk about all the time, like NVIDIA or AMD, that are in fact quite exposed to the metaverse. And if the metaverse is going to take off, they're likely to be a big part of it. So yes, you can go, Andrew, and buy your virtual real estate, but that might actually be a lot riskier than buying some of the chip companies that have a broader exposure. Right.